Welcome to the Coalition. I'm your host, Jacob.
And I'm your host, Alex.
So, today we're going to be talking about some banned cards. So, you want to tell us why some cards are banned, Alex?
So, there's a couple reasons why a card may be banned. It could be just too broken. Could also be just not healthy for the format, whether that be something that just is not very fun to play against. What else?
Something that slows down the game, maybe doesn't necessarily win anyone the game, but it slows everything down.
There's also like another subsection of just like cards that will, I mean, I know there's quite a bit of cards on the list and we'll get into them, but cards that make you play another game.
Yeah.
That's kind of a huge part of it.
Those are one of the bigger ones.
And then, of course, there's cards that are maybe not so powerful anymore, but they were powerful before and they banned them because of it. So
yeah, they maybe aren't as powerful now, but
yeah. So we're going to get into all the cards that are banned, and we're going to explain why they're banned or why we think they're banned. We're going to go over the card, and we're going to deliver our thought on why, if it should be banned or if it should be unbanned. So,
yeah, well, I guess we could move on to the first one we have on the list here. So the first one on our list is Yagmoth's Bargain.
Good old Yagmoth's Bargain.
6 mana, 4 colorless, 2 black. Skip your draw step, pay 1 life, draw a card.
So, there's a lot to unpack here. Because there's actually not that much to pack. Because
not a lot of text.
It's basically all it does is you pay life and draw cards, and that is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I mean, pay 20 life, draw 20 cards. I like having 20 cards. Do you like having 20 cards?
I love having 20 cards.
I mean, what's the other one that's still
legal?
legal?
Brand? Oh, no. That's the one that's banned.
That's the banned one.
It's similar, but...
What's the one that's not banned? The one that you can pay life and get at the end step? Necropotence.
So Necropotence is like this card, but I'd say...
Necropotence costs, what, 3 black? 3 black pips?
Yep, 3 black
You skip
pips.
your draw step still, right? And
Yep.
then you have to pay life, but then you set a card aside, and then at the end step you put it into your hand.
Yep.
So
this card is a lot better than that, but it's 6 mana. This is an incredibly broken card.
Yeah,
have to
drawing
say.
20 cards.
This is incredibly broken. I mean, think about in like a Crick deck, you play. I mean, you shouldn't really be at 6 mana. You should have won the game by now. But if you play that and you pay like 20 life to draw 20 cards, you draw a Doomsday,
or
you just win.
Any deck that wants to draw cards would love to just have that.
It's insane. So
you draw too many cards. Not much to say. Move on.
Well, let's give our thought. So, do you think this should be unbanned?
No.
Me neither. I think
it's probably a little too.
I think it's fine. I think it's
it can stay in the corner. Okay.
All right. Next, we have Upheaval, and this is just like Yagmoth's Bargain. It's 4 colorless and 2 blue. It's 6 mana. That's what
this
I mean.
is blue. That one was black.
I know, but it's 6 mana. That's what I was trying to say. So it's 4 colorless, 2 blue. It's a sorcery, and it just says return all permanents to their owner's hands. Pretty simple.
Yeah, this falls into the category, like a lot of them will fall, of where they just nuke the entire field.
Lands is mainly the big part with this. This is like River's Rebuke, but for lands too, right? Because River's Rebuke is like similar to
River's Rebuke targets a player and you get to keep all your stuff.
Oh, that's right. It targets a player. So it's everything.
I mean,
slow down the game.
Could Upheaval be... Could you break it and win the game with it? Yes.
I'd probably in like a AEC Tatiova, I'm sure you could do something nasty with this, because if you return all your lands, you just play them again.
Well, yeah, if you have flash speed, you can exile something, and then before it returns, you can Upheaval and then have something in play.
That's true.
But really, it's just slows down the game. People aren't using it because it wins them the game, and, well, no one's using it because it's banned. But, I mean, if you want to buy a card, it's 9 cents. People clearly don't want the card a whole lot. So, I mean...
Now we asked the question, do you think it should be unbanned?
No.
Honestly, I think this could be fine being unbanned.
Because it gets to your hand.
I feel like this card, I feel like this could be unbanned. I mean, would I play it? No. Would I want to play against it? No. But I
guess we have to address, could it be unbanned versus...
Should it be?
Should it be?
It could be.
Should it? Probably not.
All right, next.
Trade Secrets. Trade Secrets is a 3 mana, 1 colorless, 2 blue sorcery that says target opponent draws 2 cards, then you drop to 4 cards. That opponent may repeat this process as many times as he or she chooses. So this is obviously a very powerful card. Because at worst case scenario, you're paying 3 mana to have someone draw 2 and you draw 4.
That's insane. That is incredibly insane.
I mean, drawing 4 cards for 3 mana, it's pretty good.
This reminds me kind of like a Consecrated Sphinx type thing.
Yeah. And obviously, if your opponent even draws 4 cards, they repeat the process once, you get 8 cards then.
That's true.
That's 8 cards. That's a lot of cards you can have.
So, this card is actually fairly simple, if you think about it, but it could be used as a political tool if it was unbanned.
Hey, that guy's winning. Do you want to team up and draw 40 cards?
Yeah, that it could be just a swing.
Not to mention, if you have flash speed and you have Mindslaver, you could just Mindslaver someone.
True. Yeah, you could just take control of someone's turn and then just.
And you get to draw as many cards as you want, but you can mill them out because you have to draw up to, so you could draw 0 each time.
That's true. Ooh, yeah, I didn't think about that. I was thinking like you could also do like Thoracle.
Yeah, so you could mill someone out and then just win with Thassa's Oracle.
So, the question is, do you think it should be unbanned?
I mean, I feel like it could be unbanned relatively safely. I mean, it would be annoying in a game when someone's like, hey, when 2 people have like 40 cards in hand and the other 2 people aren't doing much, it can be kind of slow.
Yeah.
But it doesn't inherently win anyone the game on the spot. But could it be unbanned? Probably.
I think if it was unbanned,
I don't think. Would people run it a whole? I mean, would it be a very popular card? If it was cheap, it could be because decks that are
that's true. I mean, it's 42 cents right now, so I mean
unbanned,
that's because it's unbanned. But I'm just saying, like, let's just say it went up to $2.50. It'd
still be a budget option and get to draw a card. The problem is you cast it, your opponent does get to draw as many cards as they want.
That's true. If this card said it only happens once, like you draw, if you're
draw 2,
yeah,
you draw 4, your opponent draws 2, that would be very low power, obviously. I think what happens there is it just means that 2 players, the game's going to be won by one of 2 players probably, with that many cards in hand.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they both could draw 80 cards and just win off that, even if they don't have a win con that deals with milling yourself or drawing your deck. Just having 80 cards in hand is pretty hard to overcome.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if they have Thoracle,
then they just win. So I guess what it kind of does is it kind of is like Upheaval in the sense that it doesn't necessarily slow down the game, but it makes the game less fun to play.
Right. Yeah. So like, yeah,
especially for the 2 players that aren't doing anything.
I think it's probably better if it was. Actually, no. I would say this could be, like we said, I think it could be unbanned. I think
it could be unbanned. I think a lot of playgroups just wouldn't play it. Like many people don't.
It's very centralized. I feel like only a couple decks will actually would benefit a lot from it. Obviously, Thoracle decks being one of them, but like, I don't know. Okay, next. All right, Talarian Academy. So this is interesting. So it says it's a legendary land. It says simply tap, add blue to your mana pool for each artifact you control. Guy's Cradle, buffer blue for artifacts. So this is interesting because Guy's Cradle, I would say, is better than this. I would say most of the time, and it is unbanned. It never was banned. So Guy's Cradle is a legal card in Commander. This is not. So it's kind of interesting to see this card because, do you think it should be banned? If
the thing is, the decks that use Talarian Academy to be successful, there's artifact lands. So you just go, you could play this on turn 2 or something, and let's say you have an artifact land and you played a mana rock turn 1.
That's true.
That's tapping for like 6 mana on turn 2 or something crazy like that.
It can be faster than Guy's Cradle, but it has a cap, right? Unless you're playing like, if you have a lot of treasures, a lot of food, or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like Guy's Cradle decks Guy's Cradle can have a better effect because if you have like 10 tokens, you can add 10 mana, and I think those
cast more tokens.
That deck wants that more, but Talarian Academy, I mean, if this were illegal, it would be a CEDH staple.
Right. If it should be banned or should be unbanned or not, I'm actually going to take this in a different direction. I think it should stay banned.
I think it should.
But I think Guy's Cradle should be banned.
Probably.
Now, I'm not saying that because I hate Guy's Cradle. I'm just saying like Guy's Cradle is really powerful and I think it could be banned. Like
gives one player a big mana advantage. It could. You also could talk about Serra Sanctum while we're here.
Yeah, that's true. So Serra Sanctum, let's see, where is it?
It's not banned, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. So Sarah Sanctum is the same thing. It's for white, and it's but only for enchantments, and it is not banned. That is fine. I think that's fine.
I feel yeah.
That is fine because if you think about it, Talarian Academy, like you said with artifact lands, that's you're ramping by playing a land, playing an artifact land or a Soul Ring. The Soul Ring technically taps for more now because of the Talarian Academy.
And also like the enchantment one. Enchantments cost mana, and you're not as likely to go wide versus something like a Gaia's Cradle is going to have 3 creatures easily. I mean, having 3 enchantments is not, I guess for Enchantress's decks that's more, but that deck is solely focused on that.
Exactly. And I feel like Sarah Sanctum is also like enchantments are not inherently that powerful.
You can play more Pillow Fort.
Exactly. So for Talarian Academy, I feel like it
should stay
banned, yeah. All right.
Tinker, this is an interesting one.
Tinker is an interesting
It's a 3 mana, 1 blue, 2 colorless with, at the time you play Tinker, sacrifice an artifact. Well, that's how it's old.
Yeah,
written.
But the Oracle text is additional cost, sacrifice
an artifact. And then it says you can search the library for an artifact card, put that into play, and then shuffle.
Yep.
So, obviously this is very powerful because you could...
Insanely powerful.
You could turn, as we were talking about, an artifact land into a...
Blightsteel Colossus. Or a... What's another one? It's another good one. I
mean, there's a lot of good artifacts.
Well, yeah, but I just specifically thought of Blightsteel Colossus. I mean, not to mention... That's easily turn 2, turn 1 Blightsteel Colossus.
You go artifact, blue land, mana crypt. There you transmute into... Or even just a land in a mana crypt, you get your thing. So, obviously decks that want to do that, it obviously can. I think for most people, this card would... this would not be an auto-clue in most decks.
No.
For CEDH, probably some combos you can pull out with it. Going really fast, just that raw acceleration of paying 3 for something that costs, 11 or more. Or even just that combo piece a turn earlier can just be huge.
So, something to note is that a card that got printed in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty recently, I can't remember what it's called, but it is Tinker, but only for vehicles. And... obviously, that's fine.
Isn't it 4 mana, too?
I'm not sure, but it's similar to Tinker, but it's 4 vehicles. And I'll put it on screen, but that's fine, obviously. That's not broken. But
because vehicles aren't that broken.
Just to show that, Tinker is 3 mana, and you can get any artifact, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, just...
but should it be banned? Or should it be unbanned, I should say?
I feel like it's kind of the same thing with something like Trade Secrets. It puts, for one card, it can put so much advantage, and the decks that are built around it, you don't even need the card in your hand. You just search your deck for it.
That's true.
The one condition is it can't be in your hand, and then you have it. So, I don't know. I think it's fine to leave banned.
Yeah, I agree. I think it should stay banned. Next. Time Walk. 1 colorless, 1 blue sorcery, take an extra turn. So, Time Warp. How do you feel about Time Warp?
Time Warp is pretty good.
Pretty powerful. Temporal Manipulation would also say it's fairly powerful.
Pretty powerful.
Time Walk is the exact same thing, but it's 2 mana. And Time Walk is 5. And Temporal Manipulation is 5. This also doesn't get exiled. And I know that doesn't really matter, but it's 2 mana, and it doesn't get exiled. And it's just take an extra turn. This is so incredibly overpowered that... obviously, this is printed... it's in Power 9. Right? It's Power 9? Yeah.
Printed a long time ago.
Printed Alpha Beta. This card is probably one of... If this was not banned in Commander, this could be one of the most powerful cards in Commander. It's 2 mana, take an extra turn.
If you could afford this card and you were in the colors, you would put it in every deck.
All the time. Every single time. And... It's right now, it says market is $680. I don't think this is for collector's edition though. So $680 is probably the cheapest version for it, and that's collector's edition, which isn't legal in tournaments. But the thing is
if this were legal, people would spend a lot of money putting.
Not to mention, this card would go from being cheapest $680 to being cheapest $5,000. It's so incredibly broken. I don't think there's any argument between you and me saying that this should stay banned.
I want it unbanned.
Yeah, right. To be fair for it to be unbanned, you'd probably never see it.
Yeah, people don't go around. Most people won't go around spending that much money.
It's so like I mean the most I've ever spent on a Magic card was Taiga, 214. This I mean, it's banned right now in the cheapest 680. There's cheapest 680. So no one's gonna spend that much money on it. And if it got unbanned, it would be way more expensive.
Yeah, so I think
definitely should stay banned, but obviously yeah.
Oh, Time Vault.
Ooh.
Time Vault is a 2-mana artifact with tap, take an extra turn. And it says it enters tapped and it doesn't untap during your upkeep. Or your untap. So you have to skip a turn and then it can untap.
Yep.
So, oh yeah. Okay, so you have to skip a turn to take a turn. That sounds balanced.
Yeah, this is kind of in the same boat with Time Walk. Not as powerful, but it is in the same boat.
I mean, pretty much this can be like turn 3 infinite. Or this can be 3 mana infinite. Probably easily.
All you need is an artifact on tapper.
That's not that hard to get.
Nope.
I mean, just how easy that is. I mean, I can think of 30 cards that untap just a permanent. And if I go specifically to artifacts, there's probably another one. I mean, if you have Time Vault, you can pretty much just win with it.
Does Seaborn Muse say?
Yeah, Seaborn Muse would untap it.
But it would untap it. Does Seaborn Muse say at the beginning of each upkeep, untap all?
I think it's like you untap with your... It doesn't matter either way, because this is your upkeep, not just upkeep.
Right, but could you tap Time Vault to take an extra turn, and then on your extra turn, would Seaborn Muse trigger and untap it?
No, because it's still your upkeep. It's still your turn. So...
But there are a lot of cards that will go just infinite extra turns with this. And it's 2 colorless for an artifact.
I mean, every deck could run that.
Every single one.
Yeah, I don't think we should unban that one.
Mm-mm. That can easily stay banned. Okay. Sylvan Primordial. It's 5 colorless and 2 green for a 6/8 creature avatar with reach. It says, when it enters the battlefield, for each opponent, destroy target non-creature permanent that player controls. For each permanent destroyed this way, search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. So, basically, it's removal, and then you get the benefit.
It's also 7 mana.
That's true.
7 mana for a 6/8 with reach. I mean,
this is interesting because I'm gonna be honest. Other than looking at the ban list, I've never seen this card like ever. So destroying non-creature permanents.
The format's
sure you can. It's 7 mana and
it's good, I guess, if you resolve it. I mean, a deck like Volo would love this.
Oh yeah, and because it's an avatar, and Blink would like this too.
I mean, like you pay 7 mana, get 8 lands into play. That's pretty good return rate. It obviously is banned, so it doesn't matter. But
right.
I feel like as a whole, the format is faster. So like,
yeah, this could be unbanned. Do you think?
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't inherently win you the game, and it blows up one thing
for each
opponent.
And realistically, if this happens once, the player that played this is probably going to get a lot of clapback on the.
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
their other turns. This will probably it probably will be countered. I mean, most likely if you're playing.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on like the table and what people are, what other people have that are concerned with. Like if you're trying to stop WinCon, you don't stop this.
Right. Yeah, I guess.
It doesn't inherently win you the game. It's just land destruction. I mean, I'd say Armageddon's more toxic than this.
Oh yeah, by far.
And probably better. So
yeah.
I guess does it need to be banned?
At least. Could this be unbanned? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Next.
Okay, Sway of the Stars. 10 mana for a sorcery that says each player shuffles his or her hand, graveyard, permanent he or she owns into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. Each player life total becomes 7. So 10 mana, so you cast it, and this is like what we've mentioned about how basically just resets the game.
Yep.
This one does set your life total to 7, which this kind of reminds me of Worldfire in a way of, your life totals are reduced to 7, not restart the game. Plus all your permanents do go back into your library, so like the game can start moving faster again.
Right. The one thing I think about with this card is that it's going to take a couple, like 5 more turns for someone to win the game. Or maybe not 5, but like the next 4 turns, someone's gonna. I mean, it's gonna take that long.
It's gonna take a few turns. So, again, it's just one of those cards that slows down the game. I'd say of all of the cards that are like this probably is like the least bad because it shuffles your lands back in, so you at least get to draw those instead of them getting just removed.
And it's,
and your life total becomes 7, and people draw 7 cards, so the game can move faster. But again, I don't really. I mean, could it be unbanned? Yes. I don't think
it should.
Most people would play it though. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It could be unbanned, but I'm not a huge fan of it because imagine, the game's going, someone casts this and
just reset. I mean, it's kind of like Upheaval. Like, could it be unbanned? Yes. Should it be unbanned? Probably not.
Yeah, I guess. I think, it's 10 mana too, which is quite steep.
Nice. I don't know. It's.
Imagine you, Fierce Protection.
Yeah, I don't think that targets it. That might. I don't know how that works, but
each player shovels a gonna. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not. I don't know.
If it works, it's again, it's like, I guess if you win on the spot, that's fine. But if the game's just gonna take 10 more turns, do we care?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't like that. That if you're gonna like for infinite combos, for example, people want the game to just end once the infinite combo. Goes off.
Well, I mean, if you can win now. Like, you cast it, and then you have a way to win within the next 2 turns.
Instead of the next 4 or 5. Yeah. Okay. Next. Sundering Titan. 8 colorless for a 7/10 artifact creature golem. When it enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, choose a land of each basic land type, then destroy those lands. Wow.
Land destruction. So, I guess we can
This is pretty bad. Pretty bad as in, it's, pretty awful to play against.
It is. It is very toxic. And, it's not just an enters, it's also leaves.
Yeah.
So, basically, this card existing, if it resolves, will destroy 8 lands total. That's a lot. And, I mean, if you blink it, you've destroyed 12 lands without it even dying. If you don't win the game, then you're... it's just land destruction, slowly winning.
Exactly. And this card could go, imagine playing, a colorless, one or monocolored commander that, a lot of the lands, or even, multicolor commander, but the lands are, the bridges that have indestructible. I think it's the bridges. I don't remember what cycle, but, imagine playing, what's that one, what's the one card that gives your lands indestructible?
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Like that?
Or you just don't have basic land types, which, I mean, if
that's a good point, too.
If you're more than 2 colors, that's kind of hard to do, but, I mean, the colorless decks, the decks that could run it, I mean, if they're running wastes, I mean, what are they going to blow up? Can't target it, so...
It's a good point, actually, because...
And this card won't win you the game on the spot, and it's just going to slow everyone else down, and just...
Not a great card.
You'll probably eventually win if you blow up everyone's lands, but I mean, you had to blow up everyone's lands to do it, so
that's true.
It's toxic.
Should it be banned or should it stay banned? Yeah,
probably. Yeah, slows down the game.
Oh,
okay.
Scheherazade.
I'm pretty sure you're pronouncing that wrong.
That's how I'm pronouncing it.
Yeah, Scheherazade, maybe that's how you say it. So basically, what it does is. Okay, so I have to read the errata text. So players play a Magic subgame using their libraries as their decks. Each player who doesn't win the subgame loses half their life rounded up. So this is like the other ones we've talked about, except you just use your deck to play.
This is a silver bordered card. This is basically a silver bordered card. I mean,
it would be
the definition of one, basically.
Another problem with this is, it uses your decks that you actively have, so you're down the lands you have in play. So not only is it going to go even slower, it's also 20 life, versus the other one was 7 it started at. Plus, this is just a sub-game. So, and the consequence for losing is you lose half your life.
Stay banned, obviously.
Yeah, stay banned. It's not...
It's too much. It's like... You just I don't even know where to start. It's just you don't want this in a legal. It's just awful.
Yeah, it's annoying to play against. It doesn't really win anyone the game. I'd leave it banned.
Okay. Rolfelos, Lenore, Emissary. 2 green for a 2/1 elf legend. Tap, add 1 green mana to mana pool for each forest you control. So, interesting. So it's...
Green ramping? Never.
This... It is 2 green mana to play. And it can be commander. This is incredibly powerful.
It is.
The fact that it can be your commander is also pretty powerful.
I mean, a standard line for this deck is going to look like turn 1 forest, turn 2 forest, turn 3 tap for... Or turn 2 cast your commander, turn 3 cast something for 6.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ramp. It's like Selvala in the sense of it's going to give you a huge amount of mana. It doesn't draw you cards, but it's 2 mana, so it can ramp you faster. It doesn't really do anything to win you the game. And you have to be mono green for it to be really good.
That's true. Because if it's going to be you'd probably use commander.
Probably.
That's probably what would happen.
This wouldn't be a mana dork you'd
I mean,
in.
you could be. Yeah, well,
You could.
you would. I mean, you would.
Yeah, if you're running a mana dork, you do, but I mean, it's not like this is better than other mana ramp. I mean, okay, I guess
The fact that
if you're mono green, it is.
it's each forest you control, and it's not like Priest of Titania, I believe, that's for each creature, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you can get nuked, and then it doesn't work anymore. This is still going to work. Like, obviously, it's going to die, but you know what I mean? Like, if let's say, you know, your lands aren't really going to be touched, unless obviously someone's running land destruction, but it's each forest, so it's, I mean, if you're running mono green, most of your lands are going to be forests.
Yeah.
And
you could even run Yavimaya to mix up ones not forests.
to turn this off, it's basically impossible to turn this off.
Unless you're blowing up lands, but at that point, you should have
You'd
won
have
the
to be
game.
destroying all their lands. And then I think if this was, actually no, yeah, this could stay banned.
I feel like, see, here's the thing, it's like the lands that tap for a whole bunch of mana. It can give one character a huge advantage, but one thing about this is it's a creature, so I guess it can be removed. If it's your commander, that can be annoying. But that's just green ramping, like green ramps.
That ramp is insanely powerful.
That is a lot of green ramp. It would not be a card you'd see a lot because it's like $30 now, at least, and if it were to get unbanned, it would be a lot more than that.
That's true.
So, like, I
think
like...
I think it should stay banned just because, you know, elf decks don't need to be any better than they already are for, like,
You don't
ramping.
like Elf Ball?
No. So, this is just a really powerful elf commander. It's also insanely powerful in the 99.
Yeah, it can... It's a mana dork that can tap for, like, 5. That's a higher payout rate than, I guess, anything unless you count Mana Crypt, because it costs 0.
I mean, put it this way, this is always going to be basically a 2/1 that taps for 2.
Yeah.
So
In mono green decks,
when
which
you
is
play it,
probably where you're running it.
that's powerful. It's very, very powerful.
It can be. It has a high cap, too. So, I mean, like, could it be unbanned? It probably could, and I don't think it would change a whole lot. Like,
Yeah,
it's legendary, so you can't clone it, at least.
it's true, but it can also be your commander.
It can be your commander.
Yeah. I think if this card were to be unbanned, I think if it wasn't legendary, and if it was more mana to cast, then I feel like it'd be safe to unban. But that's just...
I feel like if I were to play against it, it would be like, okay, that's something we probably should remove.
That's true, yeah. But like I said, if it's your commander,
then
they can just
remove it.
recast it. And
this deck is built on ramping an insane amount.
so I think if it wasn't legendary...
Maybe. I think there's another card that's like that it being legendary and being able to be your commander makes it so it should probably stay banned.
Let's
move on.
I'm going to say it should stay banned.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I really probably won't see it ever, so.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. Recurring Nightmare. Recurring Nightmare is a 3-mana enchantment, black, that says, sacrifice a creature, return Recurring Nightmare to its owner's hand, put target creature card from your graveyard into play this ability as a sorcery. So, you can only play it as a sorcery, but you get to put something in your graveyard, put a creature card from your hand back into play, and you get the enchantment back into your hand. I mean, there's plenty of ways to just go infinite with this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, having a creature with an ETB ability, I mean, pretty much you're almost there.
Yeah. If you have something that ETBs and then it returns something.
Makes tokens even, or just
Yeah.
something. Like, and it costs 3 mana, so you don't even need to go that.
Yeah, it's not like it's like 7. It's not like...
It's a card that's incredibly easy to combo with, which...
It's in mono black, too, which is huge because decks like that usually like to
combo
like Doomsday and all those things.
And, I guess there's a few different types of cards like that are banned. There's cards that are so powerful, like Time Lock.
Yeah. And
that like they're on a whole nother level that even thinking about unbanning them would be a bad idea.
That's true.
This kind of reminds me of like Food Chain, in a sense of basically it's like a 3-mana enchantment that wants to go infinite, and then go from there. This I think can win you the game without anything else. Which I guess a Food Chain deck probably has a commander, usually has a commander that can just win on the spot too. But I mean, you can.
It can only be played as a sorcery, which helps it a little bit, but
I feel like it's not quite in that level of there's no argument it should never be unbanned, but
it probably
should
stay banned.
Stay banned, yeah.
Next. Prophet of Krufix. 3 colorless, green-blue, 2/3, human wizard. Untap all creatures and lands you control during each other player's untap step. You may catch creature cards as though they had flash. So,
our turn.
Your turn? You mean our turn. Exactly. Yeah. This is very powerful. The fact that it untaps lands is insane, first of all. You pair this with something that allows you to draw a card on other people's turns, and it's basically your turn, like on other people's turns.
And I mean, also it gives the stuff flash, which Seedborn Muse exists, and that's not banned. But that doesn't give stuff flash. I mean, this pretty much minus the card draw. I mean, but even then, like 1 card per turn, like I feel like that's almost negligible. The fact that you're taking that much more, you're spending so much more mana. And it also gives you the way to cast stuff with flash. It's like the whole package at once.
Yeah, basically. It's very powerful. The fact that's in Simic too, that's insane.
And what thing this does is it kind of makes it feel like someone's playing solitaire almost. They're playing the game a lot by themselves.
It's almost like taking extra turns.
It is. But it's always you're playing. So it's like, as someone who's not having this card out, you kind of feel like, oh boy, he's still going.
Yeah, exactly.
Going. And decks that run this probably have ways to draw cards. They never will run out of gas. So, as all decks should, they can draw cards. But decks like this probably draw cards from the creatures that they're playing at flash speed.
Yeah.
At least, unless they just win. But
it's insane.
It clogs the game up, and it's not fun for the other people.
So, do you think it should stay banned?
Probably.
I agree.
It's not quite on the Time Lock level, but...
No. I mean, I don't think anything's going to get to the Time Lock level, except for, like, maybe Black Lotus or some of the other Power 9. But even then, like... Well, we'll get to it. I'm not going to say too much.
So, Primeval Titan. 6 mana, 6/6 with Trample. That has when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may search your library for up to 2 land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle.
So, this is in the cycle with Sun Titan and Grave Titan and the other ones. So, Inferno Titan, I think it's called. The red one. So this is obviously the best one out of those ones, if it was unbanned. This is incredibly powerful.
I mean, it can get you lands. And some decks that can just win them the game right there if they have a land combo.
Right.
It enters, gets you Urborg and Cabal Coffers. It enters, it gets you...
The problem with this card, though, is that if it was unbanned, it would just be strictly better than a lot of other cards in the format.
It would be. That is true.
Like Ulvenwald Hydra is kind of on that point. Obviously, Ulvenwald Hydra can be very, very large and has reach. But the fact that this searches for 2 lands and it triggers when it attacks.
That is true. It can get a lot of value. It sticks around for 1 turn cycle. It's 4 lands.
Not to mention, I don't know if anyone has heard of, little, like, what is it, Dark Depths and Vesuva or
that's
Sage.
An instant 20/20.
That's this card. This card could be 6 mana. And then next turn, you get a 20/20. So...
No, it enters. You get the 20/20 the turn you play.
Oh, you get the 20/20 right away?
Because it enters, you get Dark Depths and Vesuva, and you copy.
There you go. So 6
Wait.
mana, I get a 20/20.
Or not Vesuva, right? Because Vesuva enters as a copy.
That's Thespian stage.
Thespian stage. So I guess you do need to wait for it to untap. But you do get a 20/20, and, you know, this deck probably has ways to give a creature haste or double strike with lands.
Exactly.
So
this is an insanely powerful, and not even just that, but just in other decks searching for World Tree and Ancient Tomb, one of our favorite two lands in the game. It's like,
I mean, I'd say this card's definitely very powerful. I would not say it's on the level. I mean, I feel like it could be unbanned and it'd be very popular, but I don't think it would be broken.
yeah, if you think about it, like, if you think of some of the other cards that are not banned in the format right now, I mean, like, if we're comparing this to, like, what's another really, really, really powerful card in the format that's unbanned? Like if you think about, like, just trying to think of something really fast. I mean, even if you think about, like some of the,
Mana Crypt.
well, oh yeah, Mana Crypt, that's a good one. Like, Mana Crypt's not banned in the format, and it's insanely powerful. Sylvan Library is also very, 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 very powerful. Yeah. It's like, stuff
and
like
both
that.
of those I would probably rather have in play than this.
Exactly.
Primeval Titan. And they're cost 0 and 2 mana.
And there is the idea that, like, okay, it can be removed so it doesn't get the attack trigger, but if you're playing, like, Haste, that's 4 lands. I don't know. I think. What do you think? Do you think?
I think it could be unbanned.
Could be unbanned. I think it could be, but it would probably be a staple in the game.
I think it could be. I don't know if it'd be quite a staple because it is 6 mana, so that is kind of slow, and you know it gets lands.
Volo would love this card.
Volo would love this card. It gets you lands, which the format from when this card was banned to now, I think, has gotten a lot better non-land options.
Yeah,
you know, like Dark Depths existing. Yeah, that's a problem. So I mean, I guess that is a really good combo. But there's other ways to get that. I mean, if what you're trying to get, you could put Hour of Promise in, and for that does the same thing as that. For that
That's
combo, at least.
That is a good point.
So, like, I think if you're trying to combo out with lands, this doesn't really do a whole lot new or, like, different.
That's true.
Or overpowered. It could definitely be powerful, and I definitely have a couple decks that would like to run this if you could, just because, you know, if you have a land you want, you could put this in. You get World Tree if you're a 5-color deck. You get Ancient Tomb if you need to ramp faster.
Yeah.
I mean, ramping at 6 mana isn't exactly the thing you want to be doing, but...
So, should it be unbanned? Should it be? No. Could it be? Yeah. I think...
I don't know. I think it would be kind of fun to see it unbanned. I guess it does get Dark Depths really easily, which I guess that's one of the most annoying things about it, but...
I don't know. I think this is in a gray area where it's like... It could go either way.
Could be annoying. Couple combos, maybe.
Oh.
Paradox
Is mine or yours?
I think it was yours.
Paradox Engine. 5 colorless, legendary artifact. Whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control. It's called Paradox Engine for a reason. You go infinite. Like,
well, it's not even that you go infinite and win, like, conventionally. It's like you're playing solitaire. You're going to keep doing what you're doing, probably until you win.
It's so powerful. It's like I have no words for it. I think it's just banned.
Yeah, it's not like it, you know, it's not like a card like Food Chain or Recurring Nightmare where it's a combo that wins them the game then and there. It basically it's like a Tatiova extra turns deck.
Exactly.
You know, they're probably going to win eventually once they start doing their thing, but it might take them a while.
It might take them quite a long time. We would know.
So, yeah, I think that should probably stay banned. Okay, Panoptic Mirror. So Panoptic Mirror is a 5-mana artifact with Imprint X tap. You may remove an instant or sorcery card with CMC X or less from your hand from the game. So, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy the imprinted card and play the copy without paying its mana cost.
Infinite extra turns, anybody?
I mean, yeah, that's a very easy infinite extra turns combo. I mean, many decks could just, you know, win on the spot right then and there. I guess it's 10 mana to take infinite turns.
There's also a 10 mana to take 2 extra turn spell.
It's definitely very powerful.
Yeah, I agree. I think
it's remove on sight, probably.
Oh yeah.
And it's an artifact, so
it can be activated.
So it's yeah. Well, I mean, okay, if it's removed, upkeep is when you do it. But I mean, some ways to break it would be cards that give you extra upkeeps. But I mean, I feel like with this card, pretty much if it makes a turn rotation, you probably should win the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Should it stay banned?
Probably.
Yeah, I agree. Next. All right, so
cycle.
we can part these all together, I think. All the Moxes. So we have Mox Sapphire, Mox Pearl, Mox Jet, Mox Ruby, Mox Emerald. So the five
five
Moxes.
colors.
So one for each color. It's a 0 mana artifact, and it just says add 1 blue to your mana pool. Attacking this artifact can be played as interrupt, which is just 0 mana, tap 1. Then there's 1 for each color. These are really powerful. I'm not going to deny that. Now, I have an interesting take on these because I honestly think they could be unbanned.
I mean...
And the reason why I say that is because they're going to be so incredibly expensive that no one will have them. And also the fact that Mana Crypt exists.
I guess, yeah, if Mana Crypt isn't banned, why are these banned? I mean,
yeah.
I guess here's the thing. People I play against will probably never have these. I will never play a game where someone has a Mox Sapphire.
But people out there will have them.
People out there will have them, and that can be annoying for some people. But I guess all that does really is speed up the format more, propelling it closer to CEDH.
Yeah.
Which, is that a good thing? No.
No offense to any CEDH players, but...
CEDH exists, but normal decks shouldn't be approaching CEDH.
Right, exactly. I think, obviously, we would never get hands on one of these ever.
No.
It's just... I think they could be unbanned. But...
I feel like they could be unbanned solely for the reason of no one would have them. Right. So it's fine.
Exactly. And they don't do enough. They do. They're really good, but they don't do enough.
I feel like they should stay banned. I mean,
stay banned.
That's
I can see why.
I mean, there's no downside to having it in your deck.
Right.
I mean, there's cards that you have to exile from your hand to get 1 mana 1 time.
Yeah. This
is 0 mana to get 1 mana
every turn.
I mean, I guess we could also talk about Mana Crypt. Should Mana Crypt be banned?
Should Mana Crypt be banned?
Probably.
Honestly, yeah.
Probably should be.
We both have one, but
yeah, probably should be banned.
It could be banned. I agree. So these 5, these are also a gray area. I could say they could be unbanned,
but that's for just because.
But that's just because they're too expensive, and also it's just like.
It's like saying we could unban Black Lotus because no one would own one.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Well, we can move on to the next one. So, Lutree the Spellchaser.
We have a cool idea on this, though, with the whole...
Okay, this one. So, Lutree the Spellchaser is a 3/2 with Flash, and when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So, Companion is... and then also has Companion. And then Companion is ability saying... So, you can have this card in the Companion zone at the start of the game if it meets a certain criteria. So the specific one with Lutree is that each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. So, well, in a 60-card deck format where this is, where you could have multiple cards of each type, this was, balanced, and that's where they designed it for.
Yeah.
This is not good in those formats. But in Commander, where you already aren't singleton, or where you are singleton, you meet that by default. But you do have to pay 3 to put your companion from your companion zone into your hand.
But a main part with companion, though, is that it's not part of the 99.
It is not part of the 99.
So if your deck runs you can put it in the deck.
Yes.
It goes in every single deck that's blue-red.
There is no downside. And this card was actually banned before it was even
printed, this is the only card that has ever been banned before it was printed.
So... I mean, yeah, it's... So, what we were thinking... Obviously, this card should stay banned just because it's an auto-include in every deck that can have it.
Right.
Even if it doesn't have an amazing effect, the fact that you have to have it for the deck to... The deck would just be better if it existed.
Yeah, exactly.
Is a problem. So, we were going to talk about how... I mean, realistically, why isn't the companion part of the 99?
We have an interesting take on it because, we thought about it, and we actually didn't, or at least I didn't actually know that. I thought Companion was part of the 99 for a long time, but it's not. It's not part of the 99. And the fact that it's not is just like, for this card specifically, I mean,
There's
it's
no
just,
downside.
well, for every card, I mean, obviously there's a lot of like companion like restrictions for each card, but this one can go in every deck. So it's, if they made it, and I'm sure, I've talked about this before with you, but I think they could easily, I think if this could be unbanned easily if they made it so it's part of the 99. Or maybe not easily, but I think they could. I think they could unban it if it was part of the 99. And the only thing that, like you said to me, is that, it's, if you put a companion in your deck,
You can have less cards.
it's less cards. And that might not sound like a big deal, but it could be. I mean, for CEDH, that's just one less card they have to draw through to get their combo piece. So it's like...
Deck thinning.
Yeah. So I think it could be unbanned if they changed the companion rule.
Yeah. And I think that's the...
But right now, as it stands, definitely ban.
Yeah.
No reason why it should exist.
I mean, it should exist, just not for Commander.
Not for Commander. Yeah. All right. Limited resources. It's 1 white enchantment. When limited resources comes into play, ETBs, each player chooses 5 lands he or she controls and sacrifices the rest. As long as there are 10 or more lands in play, players cannot play lands. So the idea is you play this, and then you sacrifice all your lands except for 5 of them, or each player does, and then if there are 10 or more lands in the play, no one can play lands on the battlefield.
This card's very annoying. I mean, this could come down turn 2, and then pretty much what's going to happen is there going to be 2 people with 3 lands, and then 2 people with 2. So that's just kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Overall.
It's 1 white, which is pretty big too, because on your turn, let's say late in the game you play this for 1 white, you can float all your mana and then sacrifice a bunch. Everyone has to sacrifice lands, and then you just...
Yeah, you can have big advantage going into that.
This is pretty bad, pretty bad to play against.
Yeah. It doesn't win them the game. It's like land destruction.
Yep, it's land destruction. It's just like...
I mean, it's not like Armageddon, but also Armageddon people usually can win this, you can't just win on the spot. Because if you have 5 lands, that makes it so a lot of decks can't play their combo pieces or their way to win. Like if you're a tribal for a heavier deck like dragons or beasts even, or even some elementals, you just can't cast your stuff, but you still can cast your removal pieces. You still cast your Beast Withins, which I guess if you have Beast Within, you probably should blow up limited resources.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But
people might say just run better removal. I think this is one of those cards that probably in terms of land destruction or that type of thing, stacks can't play lands, land destruction. It's not actually that bad because there's
you get 3 lands.
You keep 5 lands.
Yeah.
And then they don't have to be that you can sacrifice tapped lands, right?
Yeah.
So it can come down turn 1 and it won't do anything except for making it so later in the game people can't play more lands. So honestly,
I mean, I wouldn't put this in any decks.
No, me neither.
If it was unbanned.
Should this be unbanned?
I'd say it could be.
It could be. I don't like it, but I think it could be. It's not powerful enough to
warrant a ban.
Yeah, exactly. Next.
Okay, Library of Alexandria. That has tap. It's a land that has tap, add a colorless to your mana pool, or tap, draw a card. You can activate only if you have exactly 7 cards in hand. Well, this card is a land that has tap, draw card with, a restriction that doesn't really matter at all. For a lot of decks, they are just going to be at 7 cards, and if you have this in play, you can draw up to 2 and play a land and play a card every turn.
If you're playing Commander 4-player, if you have this in your hand at the start of the game,
you can draw a card.
You can draw a card. You get an extra card. This is insane.
It is. There's a reason it's $1,300.
Yeah, that's true. There's not much to talk about here, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty basic.
I'd say it should stay banned.
It should stay banned, yeah.
Okay. I feel like we could say it could be unbanned because if it was, no one would ever have it.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
but like,
I would just leave it banned.
it should just stay banned. Okay. Leovold, Emissary of Trest. 1 black, 1 green, 1 blue. 3/3, legendary creature, Elf Advisor. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. Whenever you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability the opponent controls, you may draw a card. So, this is pretty toxic.
Yeah. Slows
It's
down the game.
Similar to Narset, can't draw more than 1 card each turn. Whenever you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability the opponent controls, you may draw a card. So, if this gets targeted to get removed, you draw a card.
Yep.
This is insane. Even if it said that opponents can't draw more than 1 card each turn, that's still pretty insane.
Yeah, it could have half the text and still be good. So, okay, it needs the first half of the text. Second half of the text doesn't really matter.
Okay.
A big part about this is the fact that it's legendary. It can be your commander. So there's a lot of effects that do restrict drawing.
And it's green-blue, which means...
Green, blue, black.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, it has green and blue in it, which means blue has a lot of,
Counterspells.
a lot of counterspells, a lot of drawing cards. You're already going to be drawing cards because you're in blue.
Yeah. And it's the fact that it can be in your command zone, so you can cast it multiple times without even having a deck built around it, is kind of annoying and crazy.
This card is... If this... Okay. This could be unbanned, but I'm going to say that because it's like... I've seen there's obviously commanders that do like pretty awful things just like this, but it's pretty bad though. I mean, that's pretty awful.
Yeah, just the fact that it can happen like the entire game, there's nothing you can do. Like with Narset, you can attack the Narset and kill it. Hull Breacher got banned.
Breacher, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
See, I'd leave it banned.
Yeah, me too.
Carricus. Carricus is a legendary land with tap, add white to your mana pool, and then tap, return target legendary creature to its owner's hand.
So, if you guys didn't know, commanders are legendary.
Yeah.
Tap, remove a commander, basically.
Yeah. Also can protect your commander. I mean, let's say you'd be playing a blink deck. Oh, well, now your commander can be played a lot. Or if your commander just has an enters the battlefield effect. Or if you need a cast trigger on your commander. Or if...
This card is broken in Commander.
Yeah.
If it said non-commander or non-legendary or
non-commander
legendary creature,
it would still be broken.
It would still be broken, but it wouldn't be as broken.
If it said that and then entered tapped,
maybe we'd be talking.
Yeah, but I'd leave it banned. I mean, it's.
I would too. Oh yeah, I mean it's
It's
even if
it could not have the tap add white, and I'd probably still say it. It could enter tapped.
I hate this card. Iona, Shield of Emeria. 6 colorless, 3 white, a legendary creature, angel, 7/7, flying. When it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Your opponents cannot cast spells of the chosen color. Terrible. That's so bad.
Yeah, it can lock you out of the game. I mean, if you're monocolor or you're 2-color even, a lot of your removal is going to be in one of those colors. Like, let's say you're playing Simic. Not that Simic needs any help, but you don't really have a whole lot of removal in green.
Yeah.
So you can't stop it. Obviously Simic doesn't need help, but let's say you're playing Boros. I mean, okay.
Boros, you choose white. Then it can't...
And what are you going to do? Burn out 7/7?
And this can be a commander.
It can be a commander. I would never make this a commander.
It's
toxic.
It's so toxic.
It doesn't win you the game. It just can slow down your opponents. I mean...
A lot. Slow down your opponents a lot. I mean, someone's playing monocolor, they just shut out of the game.
Yeah, you could just be done. It's 9 mana. I mean, okay, could this card be unbanned? I guess, like, it could be. Would I enjoy playing against it? No.
No.
So I'd leave it
I'd leave it banned as well. Hull Breacher. Ooh. So it's 2 colorless, 1 blue for a 3/2 with flash. It's a Merfolk Pirate. If an opponent would draw a card except for the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, instead you create a treasure token. So it's like Narset in the fact that it stops your opponents from drawing extra cards.
But Narset says they can still draw 1 card a turn.
Exactly.
Hull Breacher says they can only draw 1 card a turn rotation.
And yeah, that's true. And it also creates 2 treasure tokens. And it's 3 mana. And it has flash.
Yeah, there's a few too many lines of text in this one.
This card was made for Commander. It's
Yeah.
printed in Commander Legends. Should not have been printed at all.
Yeah.
While we're on the fact of Commander Legends, though, Jewel Lotus. How do you feel about Jewel Lotus?
I mean, if we banned it in Commander, that would be kind of funny because
That would be
as
pretty funny.
only use in Commander. It's like Mana Crypt, but I think it's obviously very powerful.
Yeah.
I think it's fine because it makes the mana have to be spent on the commander, and that's what Commander's about, is using your commander.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think that's fine for it to... I mean, I wouldn't ban it, but I think Hullbreacher definitely was a little push. We can talk about Opposition Agent.
Little push.
Opposition Agent.
How do you feel about that one?
Opposition Agent, obviously, I feel like Opposition Agent is like Hullbreacher in that it probably has a few too many lines of text.
Yeah.
But with Opposition Agent, like...
You have to pay for...
You have to pay for the thing. Plus, I mean, Commander drawing cards is such a key port. I mean, tutoring is too, but... I mean...
The fact that no one else is going to be drawing a lot of cards. I mean, you wheel? Oh my god. I've seen CDH games before it was banned. Someone casts a wheel with this thing?
You just win on the spot.
You basically just win on the spot.
I mean, even in non-CEDH, there's normal,
Turn 2, Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah. You could just win the game by having this card. And the fact that it has flash, I mean, someone goes, okay, I'm going to cast a wheel. Everyone discard your hand. We'll draw more cards. And they go, just me.
Just me. And I'm creating a bunch of treasure, too, by the way.
21 mana. Yeah, it definitely had too much text on it.
I would like to note up before we move on to the next one is that this card was $30 when it was first printed, when it was released, and now it's $2. Next one.
Surprising, it's not less.
Yeah, right.
Griezelbrand. 8 mana for 7/7 flying lifelink with pay 7, draw 7 cards. Pay 7 life, draw 7 cards.
Has lifelink, so you get the health back too.
Yeah. It's like Yagmoth's Bargain in that you just pay life in, I guess, larger chunks to draw larger amounts of cards. I mean, I feel for the same reason, someone's just going to have 40 cards in hand.
Yep, and you can also, you gain life from it with lifelink, and it also can be your commander.
Can be your commander.
So, yeah, definitely should stay banned.
Goldos,
Tireless Pilgrim. Okay, he is 5 mana for a 3/5 legendary artifact creature, Scout. When he ETBs, you search your library for a land card, put that card in the battlefield tapped, and shuffle the library. And then it says 2, and then 1 of every color. Exile the top 3 cards of your library, you may play them this turn without paying their mana costs. So,
he is legendary. He can be your commander.
He was recently banned, if you guys didn't know, within the last year or so, or last couple months or so. I think I don't remember what day it was, but the last time they made revisions to the ban list, this guy was banned, and Worldfire was unbanned. So the reason why this was banned is because it can go in any deck, or it can be your commander for almost any deck and it can be 5 color. It costs nothing to play, it costs no color mana to play. So theoretically, you don't even need. You don't even need to activate that second ability if you don't want to. Yeah. But when it ETBs, you search for a land card and put it on the battlefield tapped, which basically means that if someone removes it, it costs basically commander tax is 1 instead of 2.
Yeah, and another thing is playing a land for turn gets you there. So
exactly.
I mean, like, it in itself also, exile on top 3 cards, your library, you may play them without paying their mana costs. Your commander ramps you, draws you cards, all by itself. Plus, you had access to all 5 colors, so you had access to everything. But you had none of the limits of 5 colors in that you could cast your commander for generic mana.
And your commander ramps you.
And fixes you. And it's just land, too. That could be a world tree. That could be an ancient tomb.
That could be a temple of the false god. That could be a that could even be if you wanted to go darkest depths dark depths and the
a little slower, but
you could if you wanted. Next.
Okay.
Should it stay banned?
mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. I mean, I feel like some people could get sick by how popular Goldos was, but I wouldn't say Goldos was overpowered.
I feel like it was that ban was a little.
The ban was odd.
I mean, what's better in the game, this or Mana Crypt?
Mana Crypt.
Exactly.
Mana Crypt can also go in any deck.
Exactly.
Mana Crypt was, over $100, but we didn't talk about that. Gifts Ungiven. 4 mana, 1 blue, 3 colorless for search the library for up to 4 cards with different names. Reveal them, target opponent chooses 2 of those cards, puts the chosen cards into your graveyard, and then the rest into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Well, I mean, 4 mana to tutor for 2 cards is really good in general. And you can even make it so there's no combination of cards they pick that, will prevent you from comboing.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, it's blue. And I mean, even in a graveyard deck, it could just be 4 mana tutor for 4 cards.
It's an instant, too.
It is an instant.
That is pretty insane. They go in your graveyard, too.
Yeah, not exile. I think if it went in exile, they would be less amazing because, A, you could get the stuff back, and B, it was, if it was gone, it was gone.
I mean, if you're playing black-blue, there's so many combos you could do with this card.
Or even just green-blue.
Right, but I'm just thinking, you could go Gifts Ungiven, you could do Demonic Consultation and Thoracle, and then some other things, and then, Reanimate, and then, that kind of stuff. Or not Reanimate, but, Graveyard Recursion. So then you're going to get it anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, you could have, Thassa's Oracle, Reanimate, Demonic Consultation, and then just, whatever it's called. The one that gives you an instant back when it ETBs. So,
Archaeomancer? Yeah.
So, they send Archaeomancer to the graveyard. They give you... Then they give you... they give you... Let's say they give you Archaeomancer and Reanimate, and then they send the Thassa's Oracle and Consultation to the graveyard. You just cast both and get both. So...
So, yeah, it's very powerful. Obviously, it wasn't made for Commander.
Yeah.
Could stay banned, I think.
It should stay banned.
Flash. 1 colorless, 1 blue. Instant. You may put a creature card from your hand into the battlefield. If you do, sacrifice it unless you pay its mana cost reduced up to 2. The idea is that you basically play a creature and it ETBs and then it dies immediately, and then, or you can pay its mana cost reduced up to 2. But yeah.
Okay, pretty much you just use it to pay 2 mana, get an enters the battlefield effect. I mean, there's so many cards that is just insane with. Specifically,
so Protein Hulk.
Yeah, Protein Hulk was the card that it was, banned for.
Yeah.
Was because you just win the game if you had both, because decks would just be designed to ping everyone.
Yeah.
But even a card we were talking before, let's say Sundering Titan was legal, you flash it in, that's 8 lands you just blew up for 2 mana.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, and there's plenty of other cards that have amazing ETB effects that could just win you the game if you got them off. So yeah, I think it can stay banned. I mean,
I agree.
I wouldn't say it's. I feel like it could be unbanned the reason they banned it was because of Flash Hulk just winning the game. I feel like in other decks it's not that powerful, but I probably would run it in a couple decks, maybe.
Yeah.
So
it could stay banned.
It could stay banned. It could be unbanned. I mean, I feel like I could go either way. I mean, on one hand, it's not the world's most powerful card, but on another hand, it does do a really good effect.
Fast bond.
Fast bond. You may put it's a 1 green mana for an enchantment that says you may put as many lands into play as you want each turn. Fast bond deals 1 damage to you for every land beyond the first that you play in a single turn. So
this is insane.
Yeah, if you have 4 lands in hand, now you have 4 lands in play, and it's turn 1.
Yep.
It's like those lands that we talked about earlier, where you just generate too much of a mana advantage in one person's. It's like playing solitaire. One person's playing the game, the other people are just watching.
Not to mention you slap this in a landfall deck.
Oh yeah, I mean, let's say you have one of the bounce lands, and you have a single landfall trigger. You can pay a life for as many ETB land effects you want.
That's true.
You have a Field of the Dead in play.
Ooh.
Yeah. Just have infinite 2/2s. Okay, not infinite, but
a lot.
Until you die, it's fine. Yeah, I think it should stay banned.
Falling Star, 2 colorless and a red. for a sorcery. And then it says, flip star onto the playing area from a height of at least 1 foot. Star must turn at least 360 degrees or it has no effect. When Falling Star lands, Falling Star does 3 damage to each creature that it touches. Any creatures damaged by Falling Star that are not destroyed become tapped. So, this card
is a silver border.
Did not realize this existed, first of all. And second of all, it's literally a silver border card.
Yeah.
It is that's so, like, stupid. Like... It must turn at least 360 degrees, not 359. It has to turn 360 degrees, Jacob. So, just so you know.
It does. I mean, could it be unbanned? Sure. I mean, it's not overpowered.
You know, with the introduction of Unfinity, making it so some of those cards are legal. Like, there's I know this could be a totally different video idea, but there's a lot of cards that are silver border cards that could just be unbanned. That could be normal. Like, yeah.
Earl of Squirrel.
Next.
Okay. Arayo Soratami Ascendant. It is a 2-mana 1/1 with flying, with whenever the 4th spell of a turn is played, flip it. Then on the other side, it has counter the first spell played by each opponent each turn. That's each opponent. That's each turn. So that kind of gives your stuff counterspell protection.
Yeah, that's pretty...
I mean, is it overpowered? No. Is it incredibly toxic and slows down the game? Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's.
I think it should stay banned. I mean,
yeah,
I don't care to play against it.
No, me neither. Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, 15 mana for a 15/15 legendary creature Eldrazi. The spell can't be countered. When you cast the spell, take an extra turn after this one. Flying, protection from colored spells, Annihilator 6. When Emrakul the Aeon's Torn is put from the graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. You know what's so funny about this card? It just keeps going. The text.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
You know, the thing is, like, it has too much protection.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Protection from for colored spells, which is basically everything.
Yeah. Unless you have an ability that says tap, blow something up.
And then it can't be countered.
Yeah. If it could be countered or targeted and you didn't take an extra turn, it'd be fine, but it lands Annihilator 6. I mean,
you're basically... And it takes an extra turn, so it effectively has haste. I mean, it doesn't have haste, but it effectively can attack.
It enters and then it swings that turn, yeah. And I mean, there's plenty of ways. And I mean, that's just when you cast it, so if I'm correct, that will trigger even if, like, in theory, you could counter the spell. Or let's say you bounce it to someone their hand. They still get to take an extra turn.
That's crazy. Yeah, because, it's uncast. That's crazy. So, yeah. It should stay banned.
Stay banned. It's toxic.
Oh.
That's the game.
Of course.
Channel. Channel. 2 green mana. Until end of turn, anytime you could activate a mana ability, you may pay 1 life. If you do, add Colorless to your mana pool.
There's not much we need to get into this one. This one is just so broken.
In Commander, that could be 20 mana, like turn 2 or turn 1 very easily. So, yeah, it should definitely stay banned. Channel goes good with Emrakul the Aeon's Torn.
Oh, yeah.
15/15 turn 2, at least. Yeah. I think it should stay banned. Oh, Coalition Victory.
Coalition Victory. So, if you guys
let's wait on this one.
You wait on that? Okay. We'll wait on that one till last.
Okay, Chaos Orb. Chaos Orb is a lot like Falling Star. It says it's a 2-mana artifact with 1 flip Chaos Orb onto the playing area from a height of at least 1 foot. Chaos Orb must turn completely over at least once. Or is destroyed with no effect. When it lands, any cards in play that it touches are destroyed.
As is Chaos Orb.
As is Chaos Orb. So
it's a silver card.
I mean, there's better cards people could run. I mean, I think it could be unbanned. It's just a funny card.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it could be unbanned. Maybe move on. I mean, okay, it's a $670 card, so people aren't going to be buying that, really.
That's true.
So
it's not that great, yeah. Braid's Cabal Minion. 2 colorless, 2 black, for a 2/2 legendary creature, human minion. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact, creature, or land. If I'm not mistaken, there's a card that does like exactly the same thing as this, but it's better.
Probably.
This is pretty toxic. Yeah. This is pretty toxic, but it's not like it's toxic, but I think it could be unbanned.
Yeah, I mean it's slow. I mean
Yeah, it's really powerful. But you have to be running Sacrifice Tribal, obviously, because you're going to have to sacrifice some stuff.
And Turgrid's better. I mean, we'll see how long she stays unbanned, but...
I'm sure she'll get banned at some point.
Probably people get sick of it. But, I mean, it's kind of annoying, but it makes you sacrifice at most one thing by itself. So, like... I don't know.
It's powerful, but I think it could be unbanned.
Yeah, I think it'd be too.
Huh.
Black Lotus. Well, there's not much to say here. It's a 0 mana artifact with tap, sacrifice, add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool.
It's dual Lotus, but for anything.
Yeah, it's incredibly broken. Okay. If it were legal and people had the card, it would basically make Commander speed up quite a bit. Probably.
Yeah, it should stay banned. I think that's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
part of Power 9. A lot of those Power 9 cards are basically...
I mean, there's a reason they're called Power 9.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I'd leave it banned.
Biorhythm. 6 mana, or 6 colorless and 2 green for a sorcery. Each player's life total becomes the number of creatures he or she controls. Pretty simple. You're probably going to be running this if you're playing tokens.
Or creatures.
Or just just creatures in general. I honestly don't think it's that bad. I mean, like, it's bad, but like, if the player that has, like, okay, if you're playing this card, right?
Yeah.
And you have 10 creatures on the battlefield, and your life total becomes 10, I feel like you should have won by that time already. 10 is...
If you have 10 creatures that aren't, like, compare this to something like Crater Hoof Behemoth, you just win the spot.
Yeah.
On the spot. If you're playing go wide deck.
This also, it's like, yeah, if you have 10 creatures, it's a lot of creatures, but your life total is going to be 10. It's going to be 10.
Everyone pitches in one lightning bolt.
And this is 8 mana, which means you're going to play it, and that's your turn. Well, for the most part. Unless you're playing, like elves and you get a billion mana for having a bunch of creatures, but or if you have, like, Gaia's Cradle. But, like...
I don't know. I'd leave it banned. I mean, I'd unban it.
I think it could be unbanned.
I think it could be unbanned, and I really don't think it would be that popular of a card.
No, I don't think a lot of people... But I mean, obviously, you'd probably play it if you're playing, like...
Tokens, maybe? I don't even know, though.
Would you put it in Rith there? Rith?
I mean... I think it's, like, a different... I think Volo would want it more than Rith.
That's a good point, yeah.
Because, I mean, like, token decks pretty much are just going to want to be like, okay, I'll just... I mean, with most token decks, they probably could just find a card that just says, fine, I'll kill you then with my creatures.
Yeah, like Crater Hoof.
Crater Hoof. Even, and there's a whole bunch of overrun effects. I mean, specifically with Rith, you could put something like Overwhelming Stampede and get, +6/+6 and trample on everything. Even so. Okay, moving on to Balance. A 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 white for a sorcery which says each player chooses the number of lands he or she controlled equal to the number of lands controlled by the player who controls the fewest, then sacrifices the rest. Players discard cards and sacrifice creatures the same way.
So... everyone gets what the lowest player has.
Yeah. It's like those other cards that just kind of slow down the game. Could it be unbanned? Probably. Should it be unbanned?
2 mana, which is pretty strong.
Yeah, you can... Yeah, you definitely can. I mean, if you used to Freeze Protection and then cast this, does it consider you having no permanence?
It's a good question. That's an interesting rules question. Because, like...
I don't know. Either way,
I don't know.
Like... Is it overpowered? Not really. I mean, is it annoying and toxic?
It's pretty good, but I think it could be unbanned. Maybe.
I don't like cards like this because it punishes someone for doing well in a game.
Yeah.
So, like...
I think it could stay banned. I'm going to say it could stay banned.
I think it could be
it's unbanned. It's in a gray area, but I think overall...
I think if it was unbanned, I don't think we'd have a whole lot of people playing it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, probably Mono White would play it, because Mono White's usually the one that's in last place.
Yeah, probably.
Next.
Last but not least.
Is that the last one?
Okay, then Coalition Victory.
Ancestral Recall. 1 blue, instant, draw 3 cards, or force an opponent to draw 3 cards, which is just...
Okay, target player draws 3 cards.
Yeah. Insane. I mean...
Every deck that could have it and afford it would want it.
Yep.
I mean, 1 mana, draw 3 is...
insane.
I mean, that 1 mana is pretty much negligible.
Harmonize is 4 and does the same thing.
Brainstorm is 3, and you have to put 2 back.
Yep.
Or Brainstorm is 1,
Part of the Power 9 should stay banned.
Should stay banned. Yep. Okay.
So, one left, and we saved it for last.
Coalition Victory.
The card that our channel is named after.
Yep.
It's your turn to do the cards.
Okay, so Coalition Victory. 3 generic and Wooburg to cast a sorcery that says you win the game if you control a land of each basic land type and a creature of each color.
So you have 5 basic lands, or 1 of each type, and you have a 5-color creature, you win the game.
Is it overpowered?
No. This card was banned before the Tribes existed.
Yes.
And that's interesting to me, because...
Well, before the format itself was a lot slower, more battle cruisery.
I guess, yeah.
So, like, pretty much people were casting 8 mana spells frequently, and then just having one that could just win you the game on the spot is pretty good. I mean, it's only good in 5-color decks. And, well, yes.
It can only be played in 5-color decks.
It can only be played in 5-color decks. But it's 8 mana, which, I mean, and you do need... Okay, in a 5-color deck, ones with, like, improved mana bases, by the time you're at 8 mana, you probably have access to 1 of each basic land type.
Yeah. I mean dragons, my dragon deck.
Okay, you have that on turn 2. We don't talk about that. But in all seriousness, like, you're going to have it by turn 2 or 3. But the creature restriction, I guess, is important.
That's a bigger one, because...
You could go to cast it, and then someone, if they have a counterspell, well, they can counter the spell. If they have a kill spell, they can kill your creature to turn off Coalition Victory, and then you just wasted Coalition Victory.
Yeah, exactly. And it's 8 mana, which is your whole turn, basically.
Yeah. So I'd say it could be unbanned.
Oh, yeah, easily could be. I'm going to say this is probably the worst one of the whole list.
Probably. Well, worst? Probably.
Worst, it's not that great.
Probably. I mean, the other ones at least can be used for removal if you can flip a coin, or flip it.
It's true. Those are pretty bad, actually. So, I mean, that's every... That is every banned card in EDH. Obviously, this was 4-player, not 1v1. Yeah. 1v1's a little bit different.
That would be a much longer list.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So what do you guys think about the banned cards? Do you think that do you disagree with us? Do you think that some should be unbanned, or maybe some that should stay banned? Or maybe there's some cards that are not banned that should be banned?